Good evening. The opinions and statements voiced by our guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this network. Enjoy the shows.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
We've been expecting you.
Monday, time for our maven of the supernatural, Denise Pridemore. This is the Paranormal Pride. Join to listen and chat live on WBHM-DB.com or Spreaker app. Search WBHM-DB every Monday at 7 p.m. Central for your supernatural paranormal fix. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride, where the show is about the guest and the listener.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore. I hope everyone is having a great night. My guest tonight is Sasha Klanott. I hope I said that right. And
yeah.
She is interesting as heck. And as you can tell, we can't cuss, so just keep that in mind. And she's got all kinds of things that she's going to tell us tonight. I know that she has. I had people reach out to me to tell me that she was their first team lead in Alaska. So I was like, she's in New Orleans. Nope, she was in Alaska. So she has done all kinds of stuff between here and there. So you guys are going to love tonight's show. So hopefully you guys are all out there in the chat land there. I'm not yet, but now I am. So if you guys have any questions for Sasha, please put them in the chat, and we will make sure your questions get asked and answered. So Sasha, the big question for everybody is, who are you? Tell everybody.
Oh, Lord, I don't know if we have enough time on the radio show just for that question. Well, I guess the shortish version is originally from Alaska. And I started my first team in 2011, and your friend actually joined it. He was one of my first team members, actually, the first handful of them. And I did some small events there, networked there, decided to network on Facebook, and I excelled in demonology, so I kind of became the source for demonologists in Alaska, or for people that needed help with cases. And then I decided that I needed to move, and I moved to New Orleans, and it's been a roller coaster since. But so I'm a paranormal investigator here now down in New Orleans. I try to focus on extreme case hauntings. I'm also the host of Haunted Bourbon, author of Liability of a Paranormal Team, and speaker, crocheter, model. It's been a little while since I modeled, since I've had my surgery, but I think I got everything. I probably missed some stuff though.
Oh, we always do. There's always so many things going on. So, right. And when Sasha said my friend, she's talking about everyone's friend, Dan Williams. Dan used to live in Alaska, and Sasha was his very first team lead. And I just thought that was so interesting when he sent me that message at 4 a.m. So, not that I was looking at 4 a.m., but that wasn't long after that. So, welcome everyone to chat. I'm seeing everyone. I'm not typing fast enough tonight to save my life. So, how did you come up with the title for your book?
Oh, goodness. That was long hours of beating my head into a wall. I am not good at coming up with names. I honestly don't even remember how I came up with the actual name. I think it just kind of, the only thing I could think of that actually sounded half decent, to be honest. I wanted to make the book, though, because there is a lot of gaps that a lot of people don't know. Now, when I grew up, I mean, I've literally been researching the paranormal since 12, and I've been psychic my whole life, even though I didn't understand that's what was going on. I thought you had to have some special power and some sort of, funny hack to be psychic, and apparently that's not true. So I researched it for a long, long time, and when it came to starting my team, I found a lot of holes that were there. People taking evidence, people going off on their own when they shouldn't. And it just made me realize that I can't expect everybody to do the right thing. And even if they don't have bad intentions, but I can't expect everybody to do the right thing all the time, and everybody be on the same page. And I always knew that liability and legal stuff was very important since a young age. My mom always told me I needed to be a lawyer. And so I understood that, but a lot of people don't understand until you start a team or until something bad happens to what effect you could have done to help prevent it. So I started the book to try and help people to prevent some of those holes that we don't think about, and to open up their minds to things that we don't think are actually liabilities or things that we don't think will happen. And sometimes they don't understand why it would be a liability. So I just kind of created that book and kind of went, okay, well, what can I name it? I go, liability of a paranormal team. So,
that's always important to know when you go to someone's house, business, what is your responsibility in this as well as theirs? Because if you're stepping on their property, you've got some issues you've got to deal with.
Right.
And if somebody's running off at the mouth, they could open up one set of liabilities. Like, one of the liabilities would be one person on your team going, it's a demon, and the other person on the team going, no, it's just an upset spirit. That right there is the liability. Is that covered in your book?
Yes, it is, because I've actually had that happen. And on top of that, the said person that said it was a demon told this to an 18-year-old girl client that should not have had her personal phone, and did. So, and then she tried to go and edit evidence thinking that I was stupid, and gave me her computer, and unknowingly, and I saw the original photo. So I saw that she'd edited them and stuff like that. So yeah, I've actually had that happen.
I'm not surprised, because I have witnessed people just listening to somebody's told me this in a message, and I know they have demons, and so I told them that you're going to come and get rid of their demon. And I'm like, I haven't been there yet. I don't know that they have a demon.
Right.
You went through a message, said you have demons because of what you think and what makes you qualified to say it's a demon without walking in the shoes of a person who lives in the house. That always worries me. And, I read this book years ago from Alex Matsuo that talks about that, about somebody saying it's a demon, and then other paranormal investigators have to go in and clean up that mess, and we have to spend all of our time proving it's not, as to getting rid of whatever was there, or saying, hey, it's just an upset spirit and this is how we appease it, as opposed to the other part where you spend all your time going, see, this proves that it's not a demon, and it's hard to disprove it once it's been said.
Absolutely. And that's because of the social aspect to it. I mean, once a client has in their head that it's a demon, it's so hard to sit down and explain. You could sit there and with a picture of a ghost that says I'm not a demon, and it still wouldn't work. It's and it's because that person has now either scared them or fed their need for attention if it's not a demon. So, and then there's also the people that want to be recognized as I found that demon. And so it's being a demonologist is far more annoying dealing with the people than it is actually the demons. But it's a huge liability, because if these people are mentally ill, because I've had a hoarder. I had one client that was a hoarder, and we had to call Adult Protective Services, not because they may or may not have had entities, but because once you step foot in that home and you see something that is unsafe, you are obligated to report something. And if their client has schizophrenia, which even I'm not qualified to say if somebody's got schizophrenia, they show very similar signs as demon or somebody that's possessed. So, you have that whole liability. If you tell them that they have a demon when they actually have schizophrenia, that's a whole new liability. So there's so many little liabilities that people just don't understand, or they don't comprehend the importance of it, or they just don't care. And it's kind of like I don't want to say my mission, but it's one of my main missions to go out there and promote the liability of the paranormal.
Well, while we're still on demons, Rhodey, she's down in Texas. She's one of my faithful listeners and one of the people I love out there in the world. She has a question, and she says, how does one determine if a demon is present?
It depends on who you ask, honestly. Of course, you have those crazy people that just go in there and read stuff off of a message, apparently. But usually what I personally do is I go in, I interview the client. If I think that there's a possibility of a malevolent entity, such as a demon, then I make sure that they actually go get a psychiatric evaluation. There's a lot of resources out there that will either pay for it or do it at a discount. And a lot more insurance companies are covering psych evaluations. And a lot more psychiatrists are actually being less close-minded to the possibility of it. And I'm completely open about it. My counselor was completely open to it. The one I have now is. And so usually what I do is I have them go just get checked out. I need to make sure that there's paperwork saying that you're not imagining this, that there isn't any psychiatric reasons for it. And then I ask them what kind of medicine they're on. And if I think that it could be medical, then I go have them see a doctor. So I literally sit down for a very long time, taking out every man-made, I guess, cause for it. And in the meantime, while I'm doing this, I'm also going into the home. And I usually require like a 4 investigation minimum. Now, if I go into a house and stuff starts flying at me like knives and crosses start flipping over, I might reconsider that. But I haven't had that happen so far. So I just go in there and investigate. I'll hear growls. At least that's been my experience. Anytime there's a demonic case, there's growls. I usually end up getting a name. And then one time I actually got over EVPs. It was one word. It said chair. Well, the person had actually, which she had forgotten about, that she was on a chair getting into the cupboard, and the chair completely came out from under her. And so, I mean, granted, that wasn't for me, that was a huge thing, because that means intent and stuff like that. So I look at little things like that. I look at if they're dreams, if they're seeing things in their dreams, or, behavior changes and stuff like that. So it's literally a huge process. It could be that I'm just overly careful, but I take malevolent cases very seriously.
And so that's a good answer, because, I find it very difficult to determine if it's demons, because demons can change what they want you to see.
Right.
So they can behave very mildly to where you have no clue, and subtle. And that's what people don't understand, is that sweet child that you think that you're interacting with, aka the Sally House, people thought it was a little girl, and lo and behold, it wasn't. I'm sorry, 7 years of experience there.
What you're talking about.
And, there's, it's not the only place, though. I mean, there's all these places, but in your findings, are demons rare?
Yes. I actually find that people are having attention-seeking behavior, and I've had a couple of clients not even realize how bad they're attention-seeking. Like they have mental illnesses. Now, that doesn't mean that they're seeing things, and I truly believe that they're not seeing things, but they're creating a scenario, and they truly believe that that scenario is there, but there's never any evidence. Now, if, I stay in contact with these clients, even if I say, hey, we'll have to wait until it picks up, or, something like that. But, after 4 investigations, if I don't see anything, there's really not much I can do. If there's nothing there, I can cleanse your home, but that's about it. So usually when it gets to that point, I stress going to see your spiritual counselor, whether it's a priest or a counselor or something along those lines. But yes, I've had more cases than I should have. But out of all the cases I've done, I think I've only had 3, and depending on who you ask for. And I've come across a lot of people who consult with me, and they've had a couple demonic cases. Now, they just wanted like a second opinion based on the information you have. And of course I can say, well, I haven't met them, I haven't talked to them. But based on the information you've given me, this is what I think. So I've done that a lot. But I think I personally have only had 3 true demonic cases, and then helped with, I think like 6 of them. So, but from as far as that's more for informational, but yes, very rare. And even 3 is a lot. Now, I've come across a lot of what I find inhuman entities at various locations, like Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, where, I don't think that they're necessarily cliche demons that we're talking about, but other types of inhuman entities.
It's very possible with the mountains and the land itself. You just never know what's been manifested by paranormal investigators going in there investigating, and the previous condition of Old South Pittsburgh could have manifested stuff as well.
Yeah.
And as you heard, I said previous condition. the newest condition is in a lot better shape, and I would go there now. So, that's one of those things that before we were talking about it, and I said I'll never go there. And my recent findings are we plan on going there now. So the new ownership has done an excellent job of cleaning the location up.
Excellent.
So
yeah, I've seen pictures. I'm excited.
Oh yeah. So everyone, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We are coming up on our first break here in 30 seconds. So you guys are asking some really good questions. When we come back, I will ask the questions that are still lingering in the chat room. But if you have any more, please put them in the chat, and I will make sure they get asked. And Sasha, she's doing great at answering them. In fact, I guarantee she's already answered some that you haven't even asked yet. So But she is psychic. So just be aware of that. She may be reading your mind and you don't even know it. So, so everyone, please come back in 3 minutes and we'll be waiting for you.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET-FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, Ltd., and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride, everyone. My guest tonight is Sasha Klanott, and we're going to finish up with one of the questions that we had at the end of the last break, and that was, this is from Tom McNicholas, and his question is, are demons connected to the devil, or are they more of an interdimensional being?
He needs to add me on Facebook. He is. Thank you. It depends on who you ask. Me personally, I am actually doing a research project on them being interdimensional. I do not believe my presentations currently are actually on them not being religious. It is not a favorite. Well, okay, it's either a really popular topic or a really unpopular topic. But I actually speak out on that quite a bit, not because I don't like religion or anything like that. It's I just find it more beneficial to look at it from realistic point of view. I cannot say for certain that they are interdimensional beings. My research so far has led me to that, at the very least, that they are definitely not as bad as we think they are. I mean, granted, I'm not going to sit down and have a cup of tea. Don't get me wrong. But I think that they are a lot more misunderstood. Their intentions are a lot more different than what we think, and that they are, whether you want to call it an alien or a different type of being that we can only see because of dimensions, but that they are not just regular beings that belong to the devil by far.
Because I know that there are tons of theories on demons. There
Right.
are tons of theories on everything paranormal. So
Right.
you can't, if they're all theories, you're not wrong.
Right. Well, unfortunately, in the paranormal field, I have actually gotten called a danger to clients, that I need to be pushed out of the paranormal and stuff like that, because first it was because I was a witch, and witches cannot be demonologists because, witches are of Satan. And I'm like, not sure that that's how it works. And then it was, oh, how dare you try to take down the Catholic Church? And I'm like, I'm not trying to take down the church. I'm trying to get clients out there, and we can't do that without all the information. And so I've actually gotten turned away from speaking at conventions because they don't want to upset people. And I just find it very important that people get all the information. And you're right, until there are more facts out there, more tests and stuff like that done, it's really hard to even narrow down, because there's so many viewpoints out there. I mean, most of them are similar on what kind of beings they are. Most of them say that they are either gods or creatures, and that there's different types, versus the church that just says that they're angels. So, but that's pretty much the only similarity between demons that you can find, is that all but Christianity has them as different beings. So other than that, whether they're aliens, dimensional beings, whatnot, it's really hard to tell.
Right. And every religion has something that's akin to a demon.
Correct. Absolutely.
Jinns and just a demon by another name. So
right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was one of my biggest things, because the first time I did, depending on who you ask, it was a deliverance or an exorcism. It's well, actually, I should say the only time. I should not have been able to do what I did, because I am a witch. And that's what kind of triggered this. Well, how can I do this? And that's when I started. I had known all those religions, had different viewpoints. I knew a lot about demonology, but I didn't put together all those pieces until that happened. So you're absolutely right.
So, well, thank you for the answer. And we have some more questions from Rhodey. She said her question is there any way a person without abilities can determine on their own if a demon is present, or do they need help from a person with abilities?
You can actually, and this is my personal opinion. I do not believe that you need abilities to be able to determine if it's a demon. Not because before I was even, I guess, came out of the closet as a psychic, before I realized that that's what was going on. I was able to determine that there was demons. I was able to take care of them, or remove them, I guess is a better word. So I am evidence that, unless there's some sort of innate mutation superpower that gives off a radar or something like that, I do believe that you can use it, because you're supposed to use science. Not that obviously, as a psychic, I cannot say that psychics are worthless. Of course, they're a tool in a toolbox. But I do not believe personally that you need to have, a psychic in there. You just need to make sure that you're very careful, that that your heart is in it. Because if you are just doing it to be cool or anything like that, you're not going out and doing real research. Demonologists do not have a very fun life. I've had to have my poor fiance, who is terrified of the paranormal, is marrying a demonologist, and I've had to have the lecture, you need to be careful. I just got a call, consultant, so I need to know if something's going on. Please be extra careful at work, in case something happens, which does not help his fear. And so, but yeah, nowhere in my research do I feel that you need to have a power more than a calling for it.
And I agree. Demonologists' lives are sometimes more in servitude than fun.
That is actually really good. I don't know why I couldn't come up with that analogy. That's actually a very good way to explain it. It's more of a life of servitude than it is popular or even it being cool, because it's just like hunting ghosts, but without all the cool stuff. Unfortunately, if it gets to that point, then you have to be very careful. So when all the cool stuff you see on TV happens, your life is probably not in peril, but you need to worry about all that stuff. So
yeah, I've got a very good friend of ours passed this year that was a demonologist suddenly, and so we're still dealing with the fallout from that. But his wife is continuing to be as a demonologist for the Catholic Church in Springfield, Missouri. So we know what it takes. We've watched and we've read all their books and saw how much it takes from them. It's amazing how much people give in the field of demonology. It's not something that you do for attention or for fun. You have to do it because it's your calling. Right. You're called to it, not, I want to do this because I want to look at me, everyone, as Ron says on Facebook. That's what
Yeah, I know lots of people that do that, and
So we have, a follow-up question from Rhodey. She says, if the answer is the person without abilities can determine if a demon is present, which you did say that, can she go over some of the steps that would follow up to take? I guess you kind of already did that, to take up how they could determine. Okay, see, I didn't read far enough because I try to make sure I get all the questions they asked. So you already did that, so we're good. So we went down the demon path already, and so I always think it's good to get that out, because I've had guests on the show before that we only take demonic cases, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, then I guess you must sit at home a lot. Yep. And but I can't say that. But you sit there and you go, well, how many can there be? And they sit there and they spout off all this stuff, and I'm like, those poor people. Those people must be terrified when you leave their house, because from what I understand, they're drawing out these investigations over weeks, and these people have to live in this house. Right. And I've had multiple calls in the last 2 weeks from people who tell me that they have stuff going on, and I'm sitting there trying to make sure that they're calm and cool and have an arsenal with them before we can get there, and letting them know, hey, when we come, just so you know, we're not bringing a lot of equipment with us, because we're not coming to investigate. We're coming to get rid of it. I don't know if that's how you go about it, if somebody calls and asks for help, because the way I look at it is they're asking for help. They're not wanting to be on TV. They're not wanting a real paranormal team. Right. They're just wanting to get rid of whatever's bothering them.
No, absolutely. Mine takes weeks, but and for me, that's the hardest part, because I want to sit there and I want to give every day. I want to go and do what I need to do to help that client. And it is so hard to help a client who is scared when you can't be there 24/7 until you figure out what it is. And usually if it's a case where I think it's going to be really heavy or something like that, I keep my phone on. I let them know. I don't care if nothing's going on, but you're scared, you call me. I've done that a couple times. But something, I mean, when somebody says that there aren't a lot of cases, there aren't, or okay, not nearly as many as, if we did a normal investigation, but I am constantly doing research. I'm constantly doing projects because I feel in order to be a true demonologist, you need to be going out and getting answers. And if all you're doing is taking cases, then you're not getting answers to helping come up with solutions and getting to better understand the subject. So I'm always trying to do that, but it is, so when I do have a case, it's just, they're far and few in between, but it is really hard to just help a client and say, I can't come over tonight. It breaks my heart every single time, even if it's just a ghost. Like when I was in Alaska, it would break my heart to sit there and say, I can't come out tonight, because if they're calling you in the paranormal, 9 out of 10 times they're scared.
Right.
Or at least that's even if they're faking it, they're presenting that, and it breaks my heart.
We've actually had some of that too. Some of the fakers that want to have a paranormal team to come in there to make fun of them, behind their backs, of course. But which is really totally disrespectful. It's like it's a college game. Instead of playing quarters, let's call the local paranormal team and make fun of them while we make believe we have ghosts. I don't even know. Do they still play quarters? I don't know.
Yeah. I still, I was getting those fake calls all the time up until I got my new number down here. Nobody calls me because it's got 666 in it.
Oh, well, why not?
Yes. I even have a couple. Yep. I even have a couple friends that are like, no, we can just talk on Facebook. I'm like, okay.
Okay, whatever. So, see, in the case of the people that I've been dealing with, I believe that it's something minor, that they have spirits that are just not happy right now.
Right.
And that I think that a little bit of Palo Santo wood or some holy water to get rid of the negativity, and everything will be fine. Right. And if that's not the case, well, then I know who to call to get, and that's why I told the people, I come to get rid of it if it's, or to calm it down, not get rid of it unless it's ready to go. And that's not up to me if it's ready to go. But I will help and calm it down, and, kind of like I do with my grandson, calm them down. And if they're good with that, then that's good. If that's not good, then, or it makes it worse, because this one house, Sage made it worse. Well, that can happen, especially in a town where the property is where the Wesleyan College was. You may be dealing with a Christian spirit as opposed to a native spirit, and you might need holy water more than you do something else. And that's I told them, I said, that's where I have one thing going with me being Native American and Christian. I might have a little something going for me that your Native American or Wiccan person didn't have going for them. They may like me better, be happier. I don't know.
No, absolutely. And something that you just said that is very, very, very important is when you can't calm it, you know who to call. And that is like a huge issue in the paranormal field. Everybody wants to be able to take a demonic case. And it's like, no, you really don't. It doesn't raise your status up in the paranormal. It really doesn't. And it's not usually not worth the trouble. But it's very important for teams to understand where their line is. So, and having resources of people who can take over when needed, even if they're still involved afterwards.
Yeah. Like I said, I at least know my limits, and I know what I can do and what I can't do. And I've got a phone with me to call and say, okay, this is what's going on. And, that's where I'll go, so I'm not pretentious enough to believe that I can solve every problem.
Right. Right.
can solve a lot. I can't solve every. And I think that me going in and being positive, that I can do something. Sometimes just being positive and being upbeat when you walk through the front door and not being all gloom and doom and like, oh my God, this is terrible, is going to help the situation immensely.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
So I don't know. It's a lot of people want to go in and just, you know, this one lady that I talked to, she said particularly, I started to say something to her. I said, now, if you get ready to call a paranormal team, let me know, and I will tell you, I will recommend some. She goes, I don't want a paranormal team in here. She goes, I'm not in. She goes, I'm not in this to get recognition or anything like that. And but she did tell me that she has bought crystals, and all the crystals she's drawn to are spirits that are helpful for communication. And I said, that could be the reason why you're hearing these spirits. Yep. And I said, that's probably the bigger thing. As I said, if that's the case, I said, you might want to put those crystals in a box.
Right. That way you can still keep them, but
yeah, don't have them out where they're generating all this energy to where, because she has this one spirit, she says, it commentates everything she does. You know, kind of like a sports commentator, color commentator. I'm like, that's not good. She told me,
it would be worse. I don't know, it'd be worse, a demon or a commentator ghost.
Yeah, and so I do have some questions for you that you might find entertaining, and so everyone, we're up on our next break. This one's 2 minutes. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I have time for more questions when you guys come back, and I might ask Ron's question when we come back. I don't know how much, maybe, because I don't know how much Dan wants out about his early years. So come on back in 2 minutes, everyone.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, LTD, and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride, everyone, and I'm Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Sasha Klanott, and we are having a great time. And if you've missed any of this, you'll have to go back and listen to the replay when we're done, because this has been way too much fun. And I did get a lovely note about you so far, Sasha, and I don't know if I want to share it because you may make your head really big. and she says you're great, and she's never heard of you, but you're very informative, and she's really enjoying the show. So I don't know if she wants everybody to know who it is, but I figured I'd tell you this. So she's really interesting, or thinks you're interesting. So yay, picked a good guess. So
thank you very much.
So Ron's question was, he wanted to know more about your time in Alaska.
Oh, okay.
So how did you start up your team in Alaska?
So, goodness, I'm trying to remember. It's because of my disability, sometimes it's hard to remember that far back. I had been, my first marriage, I wasn't allowed to basically do anything. So I couldn't start up a paranormal team. I got divorced, got back onto my feet, got into another relationship. And I had gotten approved for my disability. And so I decided, okay, well, what can I do with this money that I would really want to do? And so I bought a car, but then I also decided, okay, I'm going to start my team at last, I'm finally going to start my team. And I went ahead and bought the business license, bought all the domains, and got a logo made, everything like that. And finally just decided that it was time. And so on my birthday in 2011, I went ahead and started up my team.
Oh, well, that's a good way to start. At least you can always remember the day that you started your team.
Right. Yeah, it was just all coincidence. It wasn't even, I had just with the way that it lined up, I just ended up getting the money on my birthday. Well,
but that makes it easy. Like I said, for me and Ron, the day that sticks out the most for us is May 26th. Besides it being our wedding anniversary, it happens to be the day that we met. It also happens to be the day I graduated from high school. It happens to be one of our dog's birthdays, the day we closed on our house when we bought our first house, the day we closed on our house when we sold the house, that first house. Yeah, that day comes around a lot for us, May 26th. Okay. So apparently that day is a catalyst for us. So maybe your birthday, besides being the day you were born, is a catalyst day.
I would believe it. We just started planning Haunted Bourbon during my birthday.
So when is Haunted Bourbon going to be?
I'm starting it back up next year. It's going to be October 4th through the 6th.
Ooh, we know about it now, so we can start planning for it now, can't we, Ron? October 4th through 6th. So
actually already have Australian speakers coming in from Australia.
Oh, good. Well, I'll have to beef up on our Australian. So some of the food that's going to be there is going to be what? Let's see. I used to have an Australian son-in-law, so Vegemite and $36 a case Dr. Pepper. I'm serious. And we used to tease him. We had dinner with my Australian son-in-law one time, and my husband's mother asked him how they celebrated Thanksgiving over there, and he goes, "It's just like any other day." And she didn't realize that they don't celebrate Thanksgiving or the 4th of July.
Right. So, oh my God, it's not 4th of July, but we're so used to it, we don't even think about that.
Right. And so all we did was smile. I mean, he took it very well. He smiled and laughed, and then he proceeded to tell a joke about how he learned to speak English on the raft coming over, and he would say, "Turn over the cassette."
Oh, that's funny.
So that's my favorite memory of my ex-son-in-law. Oh, yeah, we have to have lots of Fosters on hand.
Oh, I will keep that in mind.
So that's what I know. And I mean, I know that's all stereotypical, but that was true, though.
Right.
For him and his family. So we were around them a little bit. So it was always fun. So But if you haven't been around Australians, they are fun.
I don't think I have. I probably met some and didn't even realize it, but off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
We used to have a lot of fun. I don't know if you better start drinking now to get your body ready.
I think my fiance, oh Lord, he hasn't been drinking a whole bunch, but beforehand, we have not found anybody so far that can drink him under the table. But when you live in New Orleans, it's much harder to find somebody.
Oh yeah. Let's see. We went to New Orleans the first time. It was before Katrina, and then the last time we went was 6 weeks before Katrina, while the mayor and his team were at our hotel working on their disaster plan, and only thing around with big drinks a lot.
Yep.
So, needless to say, I don't think they got a lot of planning done. But I was also disaster preparedness for sports, so I knew what was going on, because I overheard a lot of it. And I was the disaster preparedness person that sent down tents and porta potties and all that stuff for the people for Sprint that was trying to get all the phone lines and stuff back up. So I actually worked all of Katrina for Sprint.
Oh, wow.
So we watched all of it on TV, and it's amazing. I mean, our hotel was one of the ones they showed being torn up and I don't know. I want to go back so bad, but I don't know how badly I want to go back. But you've just given us dates to pick from.
Oh, excellent. Good.
So, do you have any, besides the Australian speakers, do you have any other speakers that are lined up yet?
Let's see here. David Lowry. I'm probably butchering his last name.
No, that's great.
Okay. He was supposed to attend last year, but because of the health issues, I had to cancel. And I believe that's it that are cemented. I mean, I still have to get everybody to sign contracts and stuff like that. I have a few people that want to return for sure, but I'm kind of one of those people until the contract's signed. It's kind of hard to say, especially I have people cancel and then try to come back and whatnot. So it's hard to tell so early on. But I think I have like 5 or 6 people that are interested in speaking.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. David Lowry and the Australians are the only people, though, that are cemented. And it's Christy Woods from Australia.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Like I said, yeah. I know that because I've seen some of the paranormal shows from Australia, and they are interesting. And we, on my previous network, I had a guy that would listen in from over there from the, forgot what mountains it was, but it was Pete Clifford, and he was always full of knowledgeable stuff about over there, and always found it interesting. So we have another question from Rhodey. She is full of questions tonight. Thank goodness. I love her questions. She always has such good questions. If not personal, what is your religion, and how prevalent a role does it play in your work?
That's actually a really good question.
And then let me finish, because she's got a little bit more to go here. The spirits she talks to, do they seem to have the same religion that they did when they were alive, or does that religion not matter on the other side?
Okay. So I have met a couple entities where their religion, at least according to the family, now internally they could have been a different religion, and there isn't any documentation or anything like that. I've had a couple ghosts that may have switched religions afterwards. It's only happened twice. One was Catholic to Jewish, actually. So I don't know where that came from. But one of the questions that not all the time, but I often ask is, what religion are you? As far as me, that's also controversial. I consider myself a witch because of my abilities. I consider being a witch who you are rather than what your belief system is. As far as my religion, though, I actually, it's kind of hard to explain. I believe more in energy. I do not believe in deities, which really upsets a lot of pagans. Because, I claim to be a witch that doesn't believe in gods. But yeah, I believe it's more energy and whatnot. Now that plays a huge role because I believe everything runs on frequency, energy, and stuff like that. And I believe that my gifts come from an ability to tap into certain energies and frequencies. And I also believe that goes into the whole interdimensional beings and stuff like that. So being able to tap into that is a huge thing for me. Now, that doesn't mean, I can pull a whole fringe for those who have watched the show where I can just, think and I'm on the other side. But for me, it plays a huge role. That doesn't mean that I don't rely on science or my tools or research or facts, but it does steer where I do try to get information. I try not to, but it is what it is. And now if there was proof to completely just demolish my belief system, then I would own it because that's just who I am. But for me, it does play a big role. It's not, it does not overplay science per se, but it does affect how I remove entities. It does affect how I try to handle the entities and how I approach clients sometimes and stuff like that.
I can see that.
Yep.
And we do have another question. I don't know how long it's going to take to answer this question. Yeah, well, because we only have 2 minutes till the top of the, 2.5 minutes. The question is, are you able to define what type of witch you are and let's see, define what a witch is and what kind you are.
Okay. So, quickest terms I can try to do that is, it depends when somebody asks me what their definition is. So it's kind of weird being asked what my definition is. Like I said, my definition is what an ability. It's an ability. I am psychic. I can make things happen. I have accidentally broken somebody's leg. I was a teenager. Didn't realize what was going on. So it's not like I actually meant for it to happen. But we all have this power of attraction thing that's going around. I can do that just on a much larger scale. I can also move things a couple of times when, granted, I didn't record it. So I believe being a witch is an ability to make things happen, with my opinion, without the assistance of entities, because it is an ability rather than a belief system. When you go into the typical definition of what most people think, when you go into magic, I guess you could sit there and say I'm a gray witch. I don't believe that black is all black. I don't believe that white is all white. Granted, I don't go around trying to kill people, or, I don't pull out my voodoo dolls or nothing like that. So, I don't have any intention of hurting people, but I don't believe it's as clear as black and white. But so I call myself, I guess, a gray witch. And sometimes I do use candles and stuff like that to help me focus. But I don't know if that helps, but like I said, no entities. And it's an ability, and I guess gray. That was
perfect.
I don't know if that answers in such a short time.
Well, We have another question when we come back from the break. Everyone, this is our 5-minute break, news break. So you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. This is your time to either listen to the news or go get yourself a nice drink and come on back. So we'll be here when you come back.
Options for Iran. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. President Trump today saying he's open to talks with Iran's president.
President Trump signaling a willingness to sit down with Iran's President Hassan Rouhani.
If the circumstances were correct or the right, I would certainly agree to that.
This as French President Emmanuel Macron suggests a meeting in the coming weeks in an effort to reduce US-Iran tensions. But President Trump attaching conditions.
We're looking for no nuclear weapons, no ballistic missiles.
Saying if Iran takes aggressive actions, they would be met with very violent force.
Fox's Simon Owen in France. President Trump today again announcing support to readmit Russia to the group of nations with the largest economies. Russia was ejected from the former G8 when it invaded and annexed Crimea. Joe Arpaio wants to return to his old job as the sheriff in Maricopa County, Arizona.
Joe Arpaio announcing Sunday that after getting approval from his wife of 61 years, the 87-year-old Republican will seek a 7th term as sheriff of Maricopa County, promising to reopen 10 city jails and to continue efforts to crack down on illegal immigration. Sheriff Paul Pizzone, a Democrat, unseated Arpaio in 2016. Arpaio's announcement on the anniversary of his 2017 pardon by President Trump on a misdemeanor contempt of court conviction for refusing a court's order and Arpaio's policies to crack down on criminal illegal immigrants. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Stocks starting off the week in positive territory as investor concerns over trade issues eased on news of renewed talks between the U.S. and China. The Dow gaining 272 points, the S&P up 32, with NASDAQ climbing 102 points at the closing bell. America is listening to Fox News.
The following message is brought to you by TD Ameritrade. So you've done a ton of research on a trade, but you can't decide if you want to go through with it. TD Ameritrade's trade desk might be the secret to figuring it all out. Just go to tdameritrade.com/trade desk to see how they can help gut check your trades. Member SIPC.
Tropical storm Dorian is gathering strength, threatening a number of Caribbean islands. Forecasters say the storm could strengthen into a hurricane later this week, affecting Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. New charges against Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein back in court today. The disgraced Hollywood mogul facing 2 more counts now of predatory sexual assault. At least one of those involves Sopranos actress Annabella Shora. Fox News has learned that Shora testified in front of the grand jury accusing Weinstein of raping her inside her New York City apartment in 1993. Shora was not one of the named accusers in the first or second indictment brought against Weinstein in Manhattan. Weinstein entered a plea of not guilty to the new indictments. He continues to deny all accusations of non-consensual sex. His attorneys call this latest move desperate and says it's an indication that there's a focus on obtaining a conviction at all costs rather than on seeking justice. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A federal investigation is underway following accusations an American astronaut committed a crime while in orbit.
NASA astronaut Anne McClain is in the midst of a bitter divorce and child custody battle with her wife, a former intelligence officer with the U.S. Air Force. Now the wife, Summer Warden, is filing complaints with the Federal Trade Commission saying McClain accessed her bank accounts via computer without permission and did so while McClain was aboard the International Space Station. Warden was able to have the access tracked back to NASA computers. NASA has no comment. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Officials at the University of Nevada, Reno, facing a student housing crisis, have leased a downtown Reno casino hotel tower for a year, using it for college dormitories. The school scrambled to find rooms for 1,300 students after a July 5th gas explosion shut down 2 of its biggest residence halls. Rooms at the El Dorado Resort Circus are about a half mile from the main campus. I'm Rich Dennison, and this is Fox News.
The following message is brought to you by TD Ameritrade. Like the economy, investing can seem complicated until it's explained in simpler terms. That's how TD Ameritrade approaches investing, by learning more about you and your goals before crafting a plan. It's that simple. To schedule a complimentary goal planning session today, visit tdameritrade.com/goal planning. Member SIPC.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Sasha Klanott. And we're going to continue with the questions we have. Wolf Hawkeye asks from the other chat, how do you prepare yourself when you go to remove an entity, wherever it may be?
So what I do is I'll fully admit that by this time, if I know that I've got to remove an entity, I'm nervous. That's just me, because it can go wrong. Especially as we talked about earlier, you could think it's a ghost and it's not. So that's kind of like the whole determining factor, I guess, in my eyes. So I always get nervous. So I have to actually calm myself. I meditate for, probably a good 20, 30 minutes. I actually do not even when I was in Alaska, I would turn my phone off about 30 minutes to an hour before my team members would come over. And I make sure that I have something on me that I feel is going to protect myself. And for me, that's just I don't believe that the pendant's actually going to do it, but at least helps me focus and it makes me feel better. So sometimes it's, depending on what I have at that time, sometimes it's a pinnacle. I've had a crystal before. I try to stick to obsidian and onyx. That's just my personal preference right now. Unfortunately, it's really hard to get a silver, pure silver pinnacle with onyx in it the way that I like. But like I said, it depends. And then I go over there and just try to remind myself that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I just do it. So I guess as far as prep, it's just more meditation and closing off any distractions and making sure that I have everything that I need to be comfortable.
Okay. Another question we have is from Dara. Her question is do you think people are born with abilities and don't know it until later in life, or do they always notice stuff as children?
This is another controversial part. I believe that you were born with it and they do not know it until later. That's exactly what happened to me. I predicted a car accident when I was 6. It wasn't major, nobody died or anything like that, but I still did it. In high school, a couple of my high school friends can attest to it. I would say something would happen, and they would go, yep, she's a psychic. Yeah, because it would always happen. People would ask me for advice because I would know what was going to happen. And I just didn't think that I was special enough to have an ability like this. So I thought, like I said, you had to wear some sort of turban or, something cheesy. Just growing up, there's not some sort of beam or neon light that says you're psychic. And especially when you're raised to close it off, it's much harder to acknowledge that there's something there. I do believe that there's lots of people that try to be psychic that aren't, and that they hone skills. I believe that certain people have that awful gut instinct. I just feel that some people have an ability to go into that frequency more, and that you have to be born with it. That's controversial. And I know that, but that's how I feel.
It makes sense to me. I believe that just because you may not notice it as a child,
right?
You may not be aware as a child that you haven't. That's the thing, because it may be so natural to you that you don't even notice it. That those spirits just look like real people. Why would you think that they're not? So unless you're doing something amazing, like things are levitating in your presence, I think that's probably or in front of people when they see it and go, oh my goodness. I don't know. Because I didn't realize I had anything going on until I was still a child, but I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was normal.
Right. Oh, but yeah, no, it's the same thing that happened to me. I was just raised that I was crazy. I was just coincidence and stuff like that. And then, like, I started talking to my mom 6 months ago, and sure enough, it's hereditary. At least in our family, it's hereditary. Not everybody gets it, but it's very common in our family. But because most of our family are very zealous Christians, it's obviously frowned upon. So, I do believe you're born with it. And sometimes you just don't know. You don't know what to look for. You don't even know what to think. And like you said, it's just, you don't think about it because it's normal for you.
Is there any way to train someone to have mediumship abilities?
Ooh, this is where I upset people. I don't believe so. And I know that upsets people. But that also goes back to, you may not even realize that you have the ability. Also, never take my word. Just because that's what I believe does not mean that that's fact. I have met good mediums that were told that they were trained. So I just believe that they were born with it and they just didn't realize it. So, if it's something that somebody thinks that they can train, I don't feel that it's going to hurt as long as you're not spending tons of money getting it done. It's worth a shot. To be able to open up a gift, granted there's pros and cons to being a medium, but I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from trying to explore that option, because I'm not all knowing, but I personally believe that you cannot just train somebody, that they do have to be born with it.
Okay. So something else that you said in there about training. How do you feel about, this is bad, paranormal certifications?
Oh, see that is a can of worms. So I have a weird way of looking at it. I do not believe certifications should be taken seriously on any level. That being said, there are investigators that have been out there for decades that want to pass off their information. Now, you can do it one of two ways. You can either do it for free, or because you're taking up your time, you present a class and you give out that knowledge. We kind of do this at conventions. People go out and they teach Paranormal 101 classes, and a lot of speakers get paid, a lot don't. So I don't feel somebody should not get paid, but if somebody were to hand me a certificate, I'd be like, no. Not until the field at least gets to be a certain level of, I don't want to say decorum, because that's not the right, of standards. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Yes. Because there are people out there that I believe can do certifications, that are qualified to give out that information and whatnot, that we can absolutely learn from and whatnot, that I would even pay to learn from. That being said, most unfortunately are not. So the other problem with certificates means that there's got to be some kind of school, and you can open up a school, but if we don't as a community set standards, you don't know where that school falls on the standards for the rest of the field. So it's really hard. I almost did it though. I will fully admit, I just didn't want to spend the money. I almost did though. And I chose not to. And then that's when I found out that a lot of people just take the money and just give out certificates, and they don't do a whole bunch of teaching. So I wouldn't discourage anybody from going out and learning or even taking classes or anything like that. And I know some people who go to these classes, get the certificates, and just don't even worry about the certificate. They just put it in a book somewhere.
Yeah. There's sometimes I see that and go, okay, what types of certifications are there? What good is this going to do me? Some of them seem to be more like memberships that you have to keep paying on every year to keep them. Yeah, you don't want to know. Just so that you can stay in good with the company that you're dealing with, so that you can get in better at their conferences. And I'm like, so I just wanted to know how you felt about that. So we're going to go back a little bit to the training part on mediums. Is it possible? Okay, you said born with it. And I have a couple ladies that I am mentoring right now, and I believe they were born with it because they seem to have the ability. I believe that there's something. Do you believe that there's something in there that is just that they just need to have it honed, like sharpening a knife?
Right. Absolutely. And for me, that's exactly what mentoring and in these classes that you'll see should be doing. Usually for me, the biggest hurdle is the mental hurdle. It's a hurdle that I've been dealing with for a minimum of a decade. A medium does not want to be wrong. They don't want to upset somebody. They have that pressure there. And, it's the confidence and whatnot. So another problem is that each person views their messages differently. Like, I'm not a spirit guide person. My mentor is, or at least one of the people that I find a mentor. It's 100% spirit guide. So you get these messages, and the only problem that, you have to realize as a mentor or a mentee is that it doesn't mean the teacher is wrong or right. You just have to figure out how it relates to you. Because like you're probably, teaching meditation, or like I can't meditate very often. I have to be very careful because I'll astral project and then I freak out. So some people push crystals, but then like a person may not be a crystal person because their thing is into herbs. I'm not sure if I'm communicating that, but if somebody cannot connect with the whole spirit guide aspect, it doesn't mean that information is wrong. It just means it's being translated differently. And so you have to figure out how that information that your teacher is relaying, how it works for you. I don't even know if that's making sense, because sometimes my words get jumbled. Well,
I just know that we're not together. The two ladies that I'm mentoring, we're not together. So a lot of it is over, over Facebook and that. So and I've never done this before, so I'm just learning. Right. And I'm going with my gut. Right. And that's the only thing I can do is go with my gut. Right. And they have questions, and I answer to the best of my ability. One lady I gave some reading to, and the other, I think she's going to be more hands-on. It kind of mentoring it to what their strengths are. One is younger, one is older, and the one that's older can't get out as much as the one that's younger can. So, I think that I'm reading the situation the way I'm supposed to. But a lot, the other thing is there are people out there. This is going to upset people. I'm not worried. There are people out there that will take advantage of that and teach people how to read people. Yep. Mentalism. They got their arms crossed, so they're closed. They got their arms out, so they're open. Yep. They're not looking at you, so they're lying, or they're hiding something, and that's not the case. Being in the corporate world, I've been able to read people very well corporately, but personally it's different. But you know what, guys? We're at our next break, so if you guys have any questions to ask while we're in the middle of this break, please do. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paranormal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET-FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paranormal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paranormal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paranormal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, OPD, and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guest tonight is Sasha Klanott. We are having an excellent time, so I hope that you are too. And we have gone over so many things, probably some things we probably shouldn't have, but that's okay. It's okay to do that every now and then. And we have another question in chat. This one's from Dara again. She says, Do you see spirits and or hear them? And if she can see them, does she see them the way they were in life? Or can they change the way they look to help come through to the loved ones they're trying to connect with?
So that's actually a really good question. And I appreciate the question. Thank you very much. So, gosh, what was the first part again? See, that's
the first part is, does she see spirits and or hear them?
For me, what it is it's not like an audio voice, like, I hear, like you guys are hearing us. For me, it's like a gut feeling, or I'll see literally words, in my brain, that are being translated, on the outside, like over a TV or, something like that. but I also do not see them like I do you and I. It's like a picture image or short clips of videos. That's how it works for me. I do know people who claim to see them just like I would be able to see you. And what was the second part?
The second part is if you see that, if you can see them, does she see them the way they are in life, or can they change the way they look to help come through so the loved ones know who they're trying to connect with?
So I've had both and in between. So what happens is usually at the beginning, in order for a client to be able to recognize that it's them, they'll give me a picture of even the best image that the client would know them by. Like they may have left home at a certain age and they hadn't seen the other person in like 20 years or something like that. And so they'll put that image of them 20 years ago inside my head, and I'll be able to relay them. And then sometimes if they have a horrific accident, like a car accident or, something like that, as the conversation goes on, they'll actually change their features so that I can relay what damage was done to them and stuff like that. And then there's also the in between where, that was the in between. The other ones is sometimes they'll show up completely mutilated. I've also had other ones that show up on how they wanted to be presented. Those ones I was very skeptical about. That's, somebody was trying to trick me or something like that, but they give me information and stuff like that. And then I had one client one time go, no, she always wanted blue hair. And she was never allowed to because of her job or her family. And so she just never dyed her hair. So it wouldn't surprise me if she had blue hair. So, because it was her friend.
So Dara, the answer to your question is yes.
Yes, that's actually just yes, Robert, yes.
Well, I mean, that's how it boils down to. The spirits can do what spirits want to do.
Right.
And sometimes it's what's easier for the spirit to make you understand who they are. And sometimes it's not. It's to make a point. We don't know exactly what that is. And that message is for the person that spirit is trying to relay it to, whether if it's showing you something mutilated, is that because the person that they're trying to relate it to wants to know that that's them, or showing you that so that you can validate that's them. We don't know. And, the spirit realm is amazingly difficult and simple all at the same time.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a very good way to explain it.
Yeah, it's an oxymoron.
Yeah, I know.
And sometimes I feel like the moron.
Right.
I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but sometimes I feel like I'm stupid as heck when all this stuff happens. And then sometimes I feel like I'm the smartest person ever that I figured it out, and that's not how it goes. It's just the way that it is.
Yep.
Have you had experiences with other things in the paranormal besides spirits?
I'm assuming you mean like different creatures and stuff like that.
Like cryptozoology or aliens.
You'd think being from Alaska, I would have, since Alaska is very popular for it. Well, a city in Alaska is known for its popularity in UFOs. But no UFOs here, or at least not that I know of. I haven't had any soreness or anything like that from any probing. So I think I'm safe.
Actually, not here, not ever. Save that for the honeymoon.
Right. As far as cryptozoology, I am actually the Southern representative and the Louisiana State representative for North America Dogman Project. I haven't really been able to get it off my feet because it's really hard to find a team that is dedicated to going out and doing all that. Now, I'm sure that there will be people unhappy with this short story, but when I was a teenager, as a kid, one of the creatures that you're raised up with, kind of like the boogeyman, is called the Kushtaka. Well, you're raised with it. Don't be bad. Don't whistle back or anything like that. If you hear something strange. Well, we were walking home when I was a teenager with one of my friends, and we were joking. We were joking about it because we saw some red eyes in the haunted forest that we have. And I whistled, and there was a whistle back, and it wasn't even the same whistle. So it was not even an echo. And the story goes, if it whistles back, you're going to be taken. So needless to say that even as a 13-year-old, that was a little disconcerting because we saw the eyes and it whistled back differently. So we walked very fast home. So I've also come across an incubus, not a succubus, but an actual incubus that my client had to deal with. Some people would consider that a demonic case. Some wouldn't. I don't. Let's see here. But I haven't come across a dog man. I haven't come across any version of that yet. Or the swamp monster that's very popular down here. So I'm still learning, but not learning, but still trying to get out there. But that's it for as far as cryptozoology or any other creatures. I thought as a child I saw fairies, but that was when I was a child, so I can't even verify that I thought that those were real or a dream.
Well, I have a theory on what happened to Dogman in Louisiana. Anyway,
okay.
He was lunch. Out in the swamps, alligators got hungry, caught him. Lunch.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, although I just ran over an alligator just like 4 days ago, my first time in this dinky little Honda Accord. Yeah. Yeah, it took out my the plate at the bottom of my car, but somebody had already hit him and they didn't move him out of the road. And it was like 4:30 in the morning. So I had my headlights on, but by the time you see it in your headlights, unless you have your brights on, it was too late. So
yep, it's just a speed bump.
Yeah. It was a speed mountain.
Yeah, believe me.
On that board.
Somebody hit a deer one time and it went flying up over their car and landed in front of my minivan. I had the only fur-lined minivan in Kansas.
Yep.
Whole underneath had fur, and I was like, for 20 minutes, I was going, oh my, all the way home. So been there, done that, but with a deer. So another question we have in chat from Carl from CC Paranormal Team. What equipment do you like to use when you're on an investigation? Such as pendulums, dowsing rods, any apps, anything like that?
Yes.
Yes.
So I am one of those people that is addicted to paranormal equipment. One, because I like debunking it. I also like seeing how they work. Not breaking it down. That's just too much effort for me. I like understanding it, but I don't like, because I know some people like taking the equipment apart so that they understand it down to a T. Nope. I just need the data for it. But my favorite is always going to be EVPs, voice recorders, only because I am absolutely fascinated by the voice that comes back. Now, that being said, every piece of tool or every piece of equipment is part of a toolbox. I don't feel that any one piece of equipment should be disbarred or something like that, unless, of course, it's just proven. I do have an issue with phone apps, but that comes from an inability to trust humans. rather than the actual phone app itself. So I actually don't even allow cell phones on my team. And actually Dan can attest to that. I did refuse to allow them on investigations back then. There was only one team allowed. It was usually mine, but it was only meant to be on for emergencies in case somebody got hurt. But I do believe that towards the end of it, he wanted to try some phone apps. And I was like, okay, well, as long as we're using it for experimentation and stuff like that. And I think we actually went up the stairs and did the ghost radar when it first came out. So,
I'm sorry.
Don't get me wrong. I get it. I laughed too. But ironically, while we went up the stairs, it did say stairs. But and I think it said one other word, but that was relevant. But yeah, it was. But yeah, I've always had an issue with phone apps. But that's, like I said, more of a lack of trust in humans rather than the ability for a phone to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a huge issue with Ghost Radar because and I'm going to tell everybody again so they can hear it, because it triangulates using Google and your location, and it pulls out random words based on your location. It could have pulled out stairs because it knew that you were in a multi-level location.
Right.
And because I was driving one time and I was testing it, and it pulled out stuff from along my drive home that I knew was from the newspapers,
mm-hmm.
So I kind of laughed. And then I looked at the code. Okay. People who know me know that that's my job. I write code for automation. So I know something. I know enough to be dangerous. I know what to look for in code. And so when I was looking at the code, it talked about how it triangulates and how it's basically doing a Google search on your phone,
which I fully believe
in the background. And so any of those that say, hey, we have for it to work properly, it has to have a microphone and it has to have this and it has to have that. It's not going to work. So you have to look for that. And if it says for entertainment purposes only, think about that too for a little bit. So for me, it's entertaining to watch people use Ghost Radar. When I saw it on TV, somebody was using it as an app on one of the TV shows. All I could do was laugh and change the channel.
Wow.
And
okay, I definitely missed one.
So I just laughed. But there are some of the ITC apps that I like, but only because, like I said, I've looked at what's in the code in the background, and I only use mine on airplane mode without a mic. So
yes, and that would be the only way that I would even bother testing it. Now, I would love to get somebody who's really good with ITC and that knows it like you did, turn it on airplane mode, basically make it so there's no outside tamperment.
Right.
And actually do multiple investigations with somebody that knows how to use it much better than I do, and collaborate data.
Well, we have some very good people in the chat room.
Excellent.
And my husband, Carl, they are very good at it, and we've put some of them through a battery, especially one that has the initials EV, in case people aren't, if they really want to know, they know what I'm talking about. It works very well, and we've got some others that we're going to be testing here real soon that have gotten really high marks from some of the paranormal teams out there.
Excellent.
And but again, until I look at the code, I don't want to say, hey, they're great. I haven't looked at it yet. So, but at this point, this one I've looked at the code, and we've been using it for 4 years, Ron? We've been using EV. He isn't answering me.
Yeah. Now, my other problem is also that I'm a junkie for lights. It's bad.
Lights.
I'll admit it. Yep. I'll admit it. but I like pretty shiny objects. I spent $700 on a piece of equipment that was customized, and I could have bought it for like $30. But I just like pretty shiny lights. I do not think that it qualifies as a good or bad piece of equipment. I just like them.
Sounds to me like you bought a portal.
No, actually, I didn't. I had to think about that. No, it was a Poltercom.
Okay.
Yep.
Because Portal has a lot of lights too. And
I'll have to look that one up.
my niece decided to tell me that we weren't squat because we didn't have a portal. And I said, I don't have $700 to spend on that. And I don't need $700 to hear a spirit talk to me when I can tell you what it's saying without it. So why? And she goes, oh, I'm like, okay. Of course, my niece was 9 years old, but I don't think I had to impress her. I took her on her first investigation at a graveyard, and she was excited as heck. So, let's see. We have another question here. This is another one from Dara. How do you prepare for a reading? Is that one you can answer in about 2 minutes, or is that a long answer?
Yep. After I take a bunch of sedatives for my anxiety, I basically, I because of my anxiety, I have to sit there and literally coach myself and remind myself that this is what I'm supposed to be doing and everything like that. But I literally do turn my cell phone off, or at least on silent, 30 minutes before a reading as well. And then I'll turn it on about 5 minutes before I'm supposed to call the client, because if they cancel, they'll leave a message or something like that, and I'll get it later. But I would rather have it off and not have distractions. I have to turn off all my equipment, like Facebook. I shouldn't say equipment, like it's paranormal equipment, but Facebook, turn off all extra noises, phone noises, everything like that, so that I can calm down and focus and open myself up and make sure that I'm open up the right way.
Perfect. I know sometimes it's hard to open yourself up completely,
right,
or just enough,
right?
Because sometimes you don't know what that other person's spirits are bringing to the table,
right?
Has that ever been an issue?
Oh yeah, I have sat there and I've gotten way too much information. I've also had angry entities come through that were after the client. So then I had to break the news to them that not only, can I not talk to their loved one, by the way, you've got an entity that's following you. So, it's, so I do have to be careful.
Perfect. I just know that there's sometimes that we're on an investigation and a spirit that came with somebody that's living, not somebody who's already at that location, but something that came with somebody that's living is a little irritated. I'm not doing a reading because I don't do readings. I don't claim to be a medium. Has reached out and touched someone. So, but you know what? We're on our last break here. And so you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. Come back in 2 minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
In today's breaking news, over 1.8 million people have signed a petition that is circulating throughout social media and online, pledging to raid Area 51 in hopes of freeing any extraterrestrials that could be on site. Also seeking full disclosure from the U.S. government. Could anything actually come of this? What could be the outcome? Find out on our continuing coverage at 9 p.m. here on WBHM-DB Action News.
You're kidding, right? Most of those people could have raided a refrigerator if it weren't for it having a light in there. How about this? For some real information that you can use. instead of the other sources. Stay here where you are on WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm Denise Pridemore, your host, and my guest tonight is Sasha Klanott. And before we go any further, Sasha, where can people find you?
The easiest way is Facebook. I'm too old to convert completely to Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat. I am on Twitter and Instagram, but I don't really use it. So Paranormal Siren on Facebook. I am waiting a little bit longer to set my website back up, but when it's back up, it's going to be paranormalsiren.com. And if you do want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, Paranormal Siren. Other than that, at conventions, sometimes you can find me at conventions, but Facebook is probably the easiest way to find me.
And when will the event page be up for Haunted Bourbon?
Oh, goodness. November, actually, probably more like December, because I won't be back from my honeymoon until mid-November.
Perfect.
So.
Well, and congratulations on getting married. I know that it's been a work of art trying to get everything done.
Oh, Lord.
And not only a work of art, but a work of heart. So yes. I've been watching all the things that you've been going through, and I've sent you some words of encouragement and things like that along the way. I know that it's been fun, interesting, and frustrating all at the same time.
Yes.
So, but all the good things are worth working for.
Absolutely.
And the wedding part, I hate to say it, but that's the easy part.
No, I agree. I've unfortunately I've been married, so yeah, this is the easy part.
Yeah. Ron and I have been married 35 years. We've been together 36.
That's cool.
And you're going to have one of those weddings or marriages that most people in the paranormal have. One person's into it and one's not.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. But, at least you got New Orleans to keep you busy. It's a spiritual city, and he's going to be somewhat spiritual in all of it. So
he's hopefully converting.
Well, I know that it's going to be a beautiful wedding, and I wish you guys all the best. And I wanted to give everybody the opportunity, if you have any more questions to ask Sasha, please do. But in the meantime, I wanted to tell everybody that about an event that's coming up on the 13th and 14th. Let me make sure of my dates here. It is the paranormal. Darn it. See, I lost my train of thought. It's the big paranormal roundup.com, and it is in Lexington, Missouri. And with that coming up, Ron and I were given admission to the event for both days. And that's September 13th and 14th. And we couldn't use them. So we asked somebody to go and represent the Paranormal Pride, and Ron and I, at the event. And so Carl and a guest are going to go for us, Carl Albertson from CC Paranormal Team. And so I would like for everybody to know that in the meantime, Greg Myers and Paranormal Task Force has offered listeners of the show, if they decided that they want to go, he's made a code for a group discount. If you want to go up until September 3rd, the discount code is, let me find it. You can save 15%. The promo code is, when you check out via the buy it. Okay, well, the promo code is when they check out. He did not tell me very clearly what it is. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, Dare to be Scared is the code. So use Dare to be Scared when you check out, and that will give you 15% off if you're wanting to go. And some of the speakers at this event are the Kling brothers, David Glidden, Mike Couch from Lost Limbs Foundation. Let's see, I'm going off the top of my head. Deb and Tony Pickman, the authors of The Sally House, A True Story, True Haunting. And let's see, there's some other people too, but those are the ones I can remember off the top of my head. I think anybody who wants to go, yep, Dare to be Scared, no spaces. And the website is thebigparanormalroundup.com. Camping is available, so go check out the website before you book and make sure that you get it. So when you book, the discount code comes in at the end. So if you have any questions, please contact the bigparanormalroundup.com page, and they will be able to help you through this. And remember, the discount code is only good until Tuesday, September 3rd. And if you want to tell them Denise sent you, tell them Denise sent you. So thank you so much for Paranormal Task Force for offering us the chance to go. But granddaughter's birthday comes before paranormal conferences. So Sasha, la 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 la. I'm trying to get all that out, and Greg sent me so many things, and I was trying to get it all into a nutshell. So, what part about doing events do you enjoy?
I honestly, the best part for me is actually educating and opening minds, because I usually speak about topics that people either get bored with or are not typical, that people think are boring. The liability, the demonology, but from a different aspect. So I like opening people's minds up and educating them. I know that sounds a little corny, but I don't. It's definitely not the people itself. Not that I don't like people, but a lot of people go to see friends and stuff like that, which is a plus. But some of it's the attention. I won't lie. But I think when it comes down to it is doing what I can to educate and make a difference.
It does. I mean, I tell you, I just helped out with my first event, and I was telling everyone, Spook Show Con, everyone, was very successful. We had 100% of our vendor turnout and 100% of our speakers. I have never seen an event do that, ever.
Right.
In all the years that we've been going to them. So that right there says something about the event, about the integrity behind it, that people thought well enough of us to come, of Tom and the name Spook Show Con and I maybe a little bit of me. I don't know. But it was great doing that part. But there's also all the work that was involved. And it was just, I didn't do any of this. I guess I did do some of it, but I didn't feel like I did anything amazing besides be me and take charge of things that I think I could help with. If I didn't think I could help, I left that to the person who needed to do it, Tom. Tom took care of that. If it was something I could take care of and it wouldn't be stepping on toes, I just took care of it and then moved on. And I think Tom and I worked as a good team. So I think that helps a lot to have a good team behind you.
Absolutely.
Because you can't do it by yourself. And that's the other thing people need to understand is that these events don't go, one person doesn't do the whole thing.
Yeah, I do Haunted Bourbon 90% by myself, and it's not fun, and I'm always struggling to find people to help, and it's usually the day of help. So yeah, a lot of people underestimate how much work goes into it and how much they do need help.
Oh yeah, I will never underestimate that. Like I said, I've been offering to help with events for years, and this sometime I guess somebody actually listened and said, "Yep, we'll take you up on that." And it was a learning experience to say the least. You know, there's a lot of do's and don'ts in events that people don't know. That's your next book, right?
Yeah.
How to put on a paranormal event and have it make money. Because all of them make a little bit of money, I think. It's just a matter of how much. And, and I don't know, do you have sponsors for yours?
No, but it's not because I have anything against it. That is my weakness. I have too much going on to worry about trying to figure out a way to get sponsors to work. I lack in that area, and then also marketing. So I'm great at coming up with ideas for marketing, but I'm horrific at executing it. And then it's not that I don't know a lot about sponsors. I don't know what to advertise to them, and then you have to go out and meet them. And so being a one-man band, it's so hard to get everything done. But I did not have sponsors, and sponsors are very important.
Is your event for charity?
Yes. I mean, we are not officially 501(c) yet, but we donate half our proceeds, half of our profit to a local charity each year.
Perfect. And that makes it a lot easier for people to attend if they know that at least the proceeds are going to charity and that they can at least write off part of their.
Right.
If it's going to a 501(c), you know that you can write off part of it, and that you can too. When you do it, you say, okay, I did this for charity, and this is where it went, and it makes it a lot easier. And sometimes because you're doing it for a charity, you can get your event space less expensive. That's kind of like getting a sponsor. Kind of, not exactly, but but it does help if you've got a charity that's associated with your name. So, so the rest of this year, you pretty much have wedding going on, and then after that, you start planning for Haunted Bourbon for next October 3rd and 4th, right? 3rd through 5th,
6th,
4th through 6th. See, I'm not good with dates. It's not on my calendar yet. So October 4th through 6th. So we'll have to have you on again once you've got some more planning done, and get you all get it all hyped up for you so you can get people down to New Orleans. How do people attend these types of events in New Orleans? Is there good attendance?
There is. It's harder. The first year that I hosted it, I picked a bad time. It was Halloween for us, Halloween weekend, so the weekend before. And I actually lied. It is the 2nd through the 4th because it's a weekend. Shoot, I just drew a blank. We tried hosting the event during Halloween weekend when there's Voodoo Fest, which is a huge, huge music festival, the Vampire Ball, and stuff like that, which is all great. But unless you have those sponsors to help with that advertising so that your event doesn't get swallowed up with the other ones, it's really hard to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can see that. So people, if you're working on your event calendar for next year, October 2nd through 4th, New Orleans, Haunted Bourbon. And there's a lot of things to do in New Orleans if you've never been, but make sure you bring your walking shoes because there's it's walking. You park your car at your hotel and you pretty much walk everywhere. Or you take the trolley bus. So just be aware, if you got bad knees, you're probably not going to like it. So,
stay on site.
Right. And don't take those side streets that have no lights.
Yes. Please don't.
I already know about those. So I don't think anything's changed. Oh, and don't carry your wallet where people can see it.
Right.
That's a whole other issue too.
Right.
As you can tell, I've been to New Orleans. So everyone, thank you so much for attending this show. It's been a great fun. There will be no Paranormal Pride next week or the following week, but on September 9th, Ron and I will be on Vegas Supernatural on another network because we'll be in Vegas. And so we won't be back until the 16th of September. So hopefully you guys will still be listening to the shows and checking stuff out. But other than that, I will let you know who my guests are. I know who they are, but I'll let you know who they are closer to the time that I have them all my banners done. So you guys have a great weekend and have a happy Labor Day. And you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll see you on the 16th.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.